Living with lupus has fundamentally shaped how I show up as a clinician. It's taught me over and over again and keeps telling me that functioning is not static, that capacity can change day to day, and that my worth is never determined by my productivity. That is really the hardest lesson for me because of society and because of the way that shows up in internalized ableism of, okay, I wasn't able to accomplish this, or I still need to do X, Y, Z, and then going back at the beginning of the alphabet in my to-do list. But that is absolutely separate from my worth and my value, which is inherent to just my humanity. I had to take a deep breath with that because it's still a lesson that I'm learning and trying to embrace. I put this very strongly. I prioritize sustainability and I prioritize dignity and collaboration, but in all transparency, I try to prioritize self-care and self-gentleness and self-compassion. And even, 14 years in with my chronic illness at this point, I can just tell you very humbly that it's still a day-to-day practice. But because of that, it allows me to better show up in clinical practice and better show up for my clients with a whole hell of a lot more compassion. Much of the distress that clients experience comes not from disability itself, although there's its own distress and challenge, but it comes from chronic invalidation, from medical gaslighting, from family members and friends gaslighting and not believing, from lack of accommodations, and especially from the pressure to perform as if they are non-disabled. My lived experience helps me to recognize patterns like masking and overcompensating and burnouts and medical trauma, and then also the grief related to fluctuating capacity. So I can show up with that understanding because when I say I get it. Even if I don't verbalize that out loud to my clients, how I show up communicates with them non-verbally that I'm here with you. You are fully seen. But I've learned over the years that that's not good for anybody, especially the people in my life who want to love me, if I am overloaded and a monster to them. And why? Because it's not because I lack skill, but because conserving cognitive energy, protecting my energy and peace is a clinical asset. So earlier in my career, I often waited until I was depleted before responding. And every once in a while, you'll catch me off guard, and that'll still happen. But now I learn to listen sooner, and I learned to rest earlier and regularly. I reschedule when necessary, like I said before. And a major shift for me has been unlearning that internalized ableism that equates productivity with value and worth. The belief that good clinicians should always push through. I now see pacing and rest as part of ethical practice, and it's not a failure of commitment. My advice is to ask for what you need early and clearly. You're not asking for special treatments. Obviously, you're asking for equitable access. Document your accommodation request. As I just mentioned, document when that request has been abused or misused, and the responses, and also know your legal rights. There is AskJan.org website, which is a phenomenal resource. JAN is Job Accommodation Network, AskJan.org, that has a number of resources and accommodations listed, and they're all organized by disability. But I just wanted to add that equally important is community. So finding friends and mentors. Oftentimes the mentors are outside of the organization. Finding safe supervisors and colleagues who understand and respect your boundaries is so critical to our sustainability and to our just peace of mind and heart and kind of stillness in our spirit that we can achieve when we have that community support. And remember this, that protecting your health is not separate from your ethics as a clinician. It's part of it. And I think we've said that since the very beginning of this panel today. Disability does not diminish your clinical excellence. Your disability has deepened your clinical excellence. And so I just want that to be your take-home point, and hopefully you find it helpful.